Hi there, it's Teresa and welcome to my Monday moment. I wasn't sure whether or not to talk about this today, but I've decided that I'm gonna just put it out there and see what happens. So last week was a really interesting week for me. It started when I read an article that Joanne Rawley had shared on LinkedIn. And it was an article called Claire's Story, and it was an article about a woman who has spent her career in the at sea, and telling her story of just horrific acts of sexual abuse, assault, rape, victimization, discrimination, and it was a really hard article to read. And for any of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you might have seen that I commented on that piece saying what was really difficult was that, and what really shocked me was my own reaction to reading that story, and that when I finished reading it, I actually wanted to ask Claire lots of questions, and I really I had to stop and think about why my response to this poor woman's horrific story was to turn the spotlight back on her and say, and want to ask, like, why were you in that position? I'm really embarrassed to say all the questions that I should not have wanted to ask her. But I did. I wanted to say, why were you drinking at that time of night with these men? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you get out? So many questions that were directed at her. Whereas, of course, the most appropriate response would have been to want to ask questions of the men involved in her treatment over a number of years in that industry. So being mindful that this is a sensitive topic, and there's a lot of debate taking place on LinkedIn and off LinkedIn at the moment about men taking responsibility for how women feel and women's vulnerability and all of this stuff. I don't really want to state a political point on this, because I work with mainly men myself, and I have done for all of my career, and I'm very fortunate, very fortunate that the majority of the men that I have worked with have been absolute gentlemen, and I've been treated with respect and dignity for the majority of my career. That's not to say there haven't been a few upsetting experiences. Of course there have. But I don't want to come down on the side of, all men are bad and all men are responsible for the few. So please don't take that away from this message. What I did was we had our management team meeting last week, and so I asked my leadership team. I explained the story, told them what I'd read and how I'd responded, and we had a conversation. I'm very proud to say that we've got a great culture in our little organisation where we have really challenging conversations together as a leadership team that help us to grow and learn. And I felt that this was a really important topic, because it's mainly men on my management team. There are women in the team. There are 2 women on the senior leadership team, obviously. But I wanted to put this to them and ask them what their opinions and their thoughts were. For a number of reasons. I was intrigued, but also I wanted to find out if anything like this ever came up for us as a company. Can we deal with it? Have we got the tools, the knowledge and the skills to be able to deal with it in the most appropriate way? And if we haven't, then we need to address that. What are we doing to prevent this to happen, not just to women, to men, to anyone? What are we doing to prevent this kind of behaviour inside our own little organisation? And probably most poignantly for us, how will we deal with this if this ever comes up in a client organisation where we become the person who's trusted and told, you know, shared an experience like this with. So that was why we had our conversation. And interestingly enough, we all kind of came to the same conclusions. We all had lots and lots of questions for Claire. Of course, we all wanted to fire the individual, you know, fire the men involved, and you know, make sure they were punished, and so on and so forth. But we still came down on the side of, what was she doing? What had she been doing? You know, as I said, this was going to be an uncomfortable video this morning, but I thought it was worth doing. Now, the majority of us have either got daughters, or in my case, I've got nieces. And then we got into the conversation about the way that we've brought our daughters up, or the way that we talk to our nieces, and the way we try to educate them about how to conduct themselves at work, you know, what to wear at work, how to behave at work, what to do and what not to do at work. And it really did get us soul searching last week. Now, this isn't to open up a political debate. That's not what this video is about. But what I am wondering is, as a woman of some influence on LinkedIn and in this health and safety industry of ours, what is it that I can do, if anything, to try and help somebody who might be in Claire's position in the future, or maybe today? And so all I am going to say is, I don't have all the answers. I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a therapist. But if anybody, male or female or any gender, listening to this video today is in that position where you're being abused physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually in the workplace, then this is a safe place for you to come and share and talk and discuss what you're going through. And we can offer you therapy. Please don't think that's what I'm saying, but I can definitely offer you somebody to listen, somebody to talk to. And if you are somebody like Claire, who is brave, just so brave, and wanting to share her story now, and there's something that I can do to support you or help you with this, please reach out to me. It's so important that this community of professionals creates an environment where we can all discuss these really sensitive topics, the things that we don't want to talk about, and get help and support from each other. And even when none of us have got the right answer, between us as a community, perhaps we can get a little bit closer to coming up with something that's helpful. Sorry, this has been a really challenging video for me to shoot today. I apologise if it's not my usual kind of upbeat message, but I thought it was important to have the conversation. I'll put my contact details in the comments below, but you know that you can message me on LinkedIn or Facebook or whichever platform you're watching this on, and I'll reach out to you, and we can have a conversation, and we'll see if between us we can do something to try and create a safer work environment for people like Claire. Okay, thanks. Have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll catch up with you next week. All right, ta-da, bye.